Video and stuff today because Cindy likes doing that. There you go. It's running already.
And earrings. I don't know if we're going to get too cheap.
Yeah, so if you're someone, if you got glasses, watches, earrings, things like that, one, I don't want you to ruin your own stuff because I'm not going to pay for it. Two, I don't want you scratching other people when we're doing things. And just simple when it comes to that. If you got things in your pocket that aren't, like if you got like pens or we got a flashlight or something over there, I'd take that stuff out as well. So we'll kind of start. Let's kind of introduce one another. I'll give you guys a rundown of what we're doing, and we'll kind of get rocking. So we'll start with Mr. Aaron over there.
I'm Aaron Maley. Been training with Lane for a couple years in jiu-jitsu.
Cool. That's the Cliff Notes version. Aaron's a very good, very experienced stand-up guy, and but he's kind of new to the weapon stuff. So we'll have kind of an interesting, we'll have some people like on both sides of that dynamic. So it'll be good.
I'm Jeff. I'm the owner. I'm and host. So I've taken this class like 4 times. I think I signed up 5 times. It's a fun class. So you're gonna have a lot of fun in it. I've been doing kickboxing for 13 years. I've been doing competitive shooting for 7, and I hate doing jiu-jitsu, so good fun.
I'm Nate. I've done a lot of my own shooting, but I've never done any fighting stuff. So
have you done any competition shooting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I have. So
you come like shoot down with us down there at ENGC or
I go there. I haven't done any of the competitions there.
Okay. Well, you should.
Yeah, I know I should. I've shot a lot of competitions throughout high school and on my own time and whatnot. So
cool.
I'm pumped for my first fighting class.
Nice.
I'm Tommy. I've been training here for a few months with Jeff, and then this is my first class though. So I'm excited.
Any firearms experience or carrying experience, anything like that?
A little bit just shooting with him, but
okay.
never any competitions or anything like that.
Cool.
Yeah. My name is Stephanie. I work and train out of 88 Tactical quite a bit, and been doing Krav Maga for about 7 years in Lincoln. And so this will just be good, retaining your weapon, add to the experience.
Cool.
I'm Pat. I've taken this form of this class a couple times now. I've been shooting, defensively, competition shooting for probably 10 years or so. Over in East Central Iowa. So not around here.
It's way better now that I went away from the airsoft guns. I think the last time you came over was probably at Rob's.
Was the last time I was here.
Yeah, because I used to use the airsoft gun, and the airsoft guns worked until they didn't. In one class, they didn't work at all, and it just ruined class. And I was like, uh-oh. I was like, this can't ever happen again. So, John?
Yeah, I'm John. I have Army experience, but I've never done any fighting or anything, and I'm pretty much starting my concealed carry journey, so learning to look forward to learning.
Dan Stocker, been a cop for 26 years. I've done everything. I'm 50, so I've done everything for a lot of years. Competition shooting for a long time. Back when my body was better, I did a lot of jiu-jitsu for a lot of years. So miss it. So kind of looking forward to that. Get back to it a little bit.
Hey, I guess you can go. You can go first.
Oh, thank you.
Order of rank and importance here.
Fair. Aaron Satterwhite. Judo black belt. I also train with Lane Jiu-Jitsu. Right now I can outshoot Lane, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, is that? Oh, are we done? Okay.
Done. I just wanted to add that part.
Yeah. So my name's Lane Grease. Obviously, Bastion Black Performance is my thing. So I'm a competition shooter. I'm a grandmaster competition shooter and a jiu-jitsu black belt, and this like the practical application of like the fight and the firearm stuff has always been the thing that I care about. Like I love competition shooting and I'm obsessed with it. Don't get me wrong, but like I still like kind of always bring it back to this sort of stuff. Just as far as like, and what this class is kind of about is introducing people to like what I call personal violence. So this isn't, Dan gets a call to active shooter at a school and, it's hey, get out of your cruiser, draw your weapon, run in. Like, not that that's not dangerous or scary or has its own, but it's a very, very different thing than like dealing with actual like personal violence, road rage incident, robbery attempts, things like that kind of come up a lot. So kind of introducing people to that side of things. And so obviously I tore my bicep here a couple weeks back, had surgery. So Aaron will be my AI for the day. So everything bad that I say about Aaron is about his personality and his general like character. But Aaron he's a very good, as far as all the stand-up stuff, the judo stuff, is extremely good at that. He's super twitchy, and it sucks like training with him on the feet. So that'll be he's a good addition when it comes to that sort of stuff. And he's a cop now, so he brings a good kind of experience when it comes to that. So kind of what class will look like I said, we'll basically go over, we'll clear and flag the weapons. So the initial thing that we'll do is I'll teach people basically just a little bit of weapons handling. So it'll be a thumb pec index, which is a position to shoot from physical contact with somebody. And then we'll kind of teach a chest ready, and then basically a little bit of work, as far as like creating space and drawing our weapon, pretty basic stuff, working from that. And a lot of like the main idea of that is basically just to teach people the thumb pec index, and then to A, get them a little bit physically warmed up, and B, to give me a little bit of an insight into what your gun handling, levels look like. Then we'll basically get right down into teaching a little bit of verbal management as far as like establishing, maintaining verbal boundaries. That'll inevitably break down. We'll get into a default cover position to kind of protect ourselves from the ambush or from the assault there. That'll kind of, condense down into a little bit of work from being like actually physically in contact. And everything that I do, I try to teach a very minimal number of things and have a very maximal amount of like training, drilling, and like kind of position sparring reps, because I want you to leave class feeling like A, the things that you need to train ongoing in the future, but also B, that you leave here a little bit more capable than you came in. That's it's always the duality of teaching a class is the goal of class to have somebody leave being better, which after one day is probably impossible, or is the goal to have them leave knowing ways to train and the things that they need to address. So we'll kind of work down to that. We'll do some underhook, we'll do some overhook, we'll do 3 ties, bicep, wrist, hand, or weapon tie. A couple ways to actually shoot or to access weapons or tools from an entangled position. Some work on that. We'll do basically 2 ways to access somebody's back on the feet, either to be able to control, to be able to access weapons, to be able to pick them up, throw them on the ground, stomp them on the head, run away. And then we'll basically get into a lot of drilling. So like I said, I try not to teach very much as far as number of things, and I try to mostly do a lot of repetitions as far as the stuff that we're doing. So that'll the goal will be mostly or essentially done with all of the instructional stuff by about noon or maybe immediately after lunch. And then most of the afternoon will be dedicated to the live iterations, which is what the day will end with, where we'll get the simunitions out, we'll wear the masks. Nothing is ever 100% live because it's always a training environment where we'll basically put you in, positions and, let you get your shit worked a little bit, to kind of expose you to, some of the actual realities of, personal violence. And then we'll do a lot of, drilling repetitions and things like that. Does anybody have any questions on basics? No. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll have you guys migrate over by our clearing table. So first we'll clear all of our persons. So what we'll do, we'll have you line up, have you search yourself, turn to your partner, your buddy's going to search you, and then Aaron and myself are going to physically search you. Once we search everybody, then we'll do the same basic thing with the weapons. My level of personal search is there's prison and there's the TSA, and we try to go somewhere in between. Aaron's a new cop. He's got a lot of experience with the closer to prison side of things, so he's very excited about that. But all right, let's bring it over here, guys. All right, it's running. Okay, so like I said, what we're going to get started with here is kind of the gun handling portion. So we'll teach you guys the thumb pec index, which is the way that we're going to use the firearm when we're in physical contact with somebody else. We'll do a little bit of work on that. Now, again, for this portion, obviously you do have your weapons in your holsters, all right? So there will be, obviously we'll be pointing them at each other, but I want us to make sure we remember one, safe gun handling. So what's our 4 weapon safety rules? What's one? What's the easy one? First one. What?
Treat every gun as if it's loaded.
Yep, treat every weapon as if it's loaded. What's 2?
Know your target and what's beyond it.
That's 4.
Safe finger.
Oh, I thought you were, didn't I?
Safe finger. Finger off the trigger. Finger off the trigger. Safe finger. You want them in a certain order?
Yeah, 1 and 2 and 3.
Some people.
What's the second one? Never
Point your gun at anything you don't.
Never point your weapon at anything you're not willing to kill, destroy, or pay for.
Yep.
Right? What's 3?
Yeah. Know your target.
Keep your finger off the trigger and on the frame until you're ready to fire.
Yep. Finger off the trigger until you intend to fire. Intend versus ready is big on that, right? So like, I'm ready to fire as soon as that gun comes out. But intend means they're like, hey, I've made the decision, finger goes in the trigger guard because there is no safe having the finger in the trigger guard, and hey, there's no possibility of this gun going off. I've eliminated that by putting my finger in there. So intend versus ready. And 4, Colin, hit us up again here.
Know your target and what's beyond it.
Yep, so I always say know your target, the foreground, and the background. All right, and this will come up when you start adding the force-on-force component to this sort of stuff, is knowing the the target as well as the foreground and background. So for example, let's say I've got Aaron and Aaron. I've got double Aarons here, right? So we set Mr. Satterwhite right here, and for whatever reason, Mr. Melee is somebody that needs to be engaged. Can I safely, if you're me standing right here, if you guys can see where I'm at, can I safely engage Aaron, secondary Aaron, from here?
Not without moving.
I mean, I can.
You can.
I have plenty of clearance to be able to take that shot, but what do I need to be extremely aware of before I make any of that sort of decision? My foreground, right? Because, you talk about an LE context, right? That's a teammate. Do you shoot past the point man? Basically never a good idea, right? Because he doesn't know I'm back here. He might move if that's a hostage, bystander, or whatever, right? Sure, there could be a time when like I'd have to take that, but I need to be very like aware. Now, flip it around. Now, Satterwhite is the target that I need to engage. Aaron Melee is, an innocent bystander of some sort. Can I safely engage Aaron Satterwhite from here? I could, right? But I need to be extremely aware of my angles and my pass-through potentials on that. Not only if I miss, but just the fact that like, hey, if I shoot him off on the right shoulder, it is completely lined up with Aaron Melee over there. So keep that in mind, foreground and background, especially when we think about in terms of like self-defense, we think about in terms of duty, there are infinitely more things that should not be shot than there are things that should be shot when we're out and about. So we'll keep that in mind. So what that means is as we're handling the weapons, I expect to see us doing the thing that we're working on, and then I expect to see you consciously and very deliberately reholstering. We're not, waving guns around. We're not like, mishandling them. That'll be the one thing that like I crack down on people like extremely quick on is the weapons handling. So, all right. Talking about the thumb pec index, you guys don't have to face each other anymore. Like you can cease. Talking about the thumb pec index. So very simple position. The way that we're going to teach it, I just do essentially 3 cues on the thumb pec index, right? So first, for training purposes, our offhand, our support hand for this purpose is just going to go on our chest. All right. Obviously, my arm's in a brace, so disregard that for myself. But is anyone in here? John's left-handed. Is everyone else in here right-handed? Okay, so everybody but John, it'll be left hand will just go to the chest and it'll stay right there. Okay, so I'll give everyone, I call that the cover call. So I'll go cover. That hand will come out of the way. I'll say grip. Grip will be your cue to clear the garment to establish a grip on the firearm. And then I'll say draw. The firearm will come out into the draw position. Okay, so now when it comes to, let's have everybody be over there. All right, so that you can see me. I'm going to show you, can you come over here please, Aaron? So I'm going to show you what a good thumb pec index will look like. So as I'm drawing, a good thumb pec index position is going to look like this. I'm going to be my thumb is going to be on my pec, hence the name. My elbow is going to be tight. It's going to be under tension, and it's going to be back. If we see where my muzzle is, where is it angled? Like down and forward, right? That is deliberate. Also, is my muzzle angled into my body? No, right? My muzzle is angled not exactly straight, but it's angled explicitly away from my body. Okay, so if we look at where we're at in relation to, my target here. Okay, who thinks they know what would be the reason or what would be the purpose for using this position to engage from contact versus some other position? Why would I do this particular position?
Is it further away from them so they can't grab it?
That's potentially part of it, yeah. This is about as far away as I can get the gun from him, right? What else?
They've got you wrapped up. You can't do much else with that.
Kinda.
With your arm and your elbow tucked that tight, it's going to be a lot harder to fight that gun away from you.
Maybe. Let's think more about what do we think it looks like when I have to shoot somebody at arm's distance or closer? What are risks that are extremely present? Shooting yourself, right? So we imagine if this is a real life scenario, right? Personal violence, road rage incident, I have to get my firearm out. If I'm in physical contact, I'm going to be in some form of, maybe I've got underhook, overhook. I'm grabbing, Aaron by the shirt, we're wrestling or whatever. Is there any way to angle the firearm up that can be safely executed when we take that into consideration? No, can't do it, right? So by angling down, right, this is the safest way that I can engage when I have to be in physical contact with somebody. And that is hugely important, right? The other component of that is when we call an index, right? So the weapon is indexed, thumb to pec, right? So now it is very secured to my body, right? Which means that now I'm able to direct the rounds with my body, right? Because what we don't want to do is something that like a lot of people usually call floating the gun, which would be moving the gun in order to access the target that way. Can we see potential problems with that? Right? Aaron and I are up in this, and I start trying to do this kind of thing, right? Why would that be problematic?
Your arm's on the other side.
What's that?
Your arm's on the other side.
Potentially that, but what else? Is it easy to predict the impact of the rounds if I start doing this or if I start doing this? Not really, right? It's very difficult to know where I'm sending the rounds in order to maintain, one, obviously like I need to hit him if I want to cause any damage, but also safety for myself, safety for the environment. Does that make sense? Does anybody?
So when you say this is the only safe way to have it, is that because you're not wanting to shoot the individual yet?
No, you're shooting from there.
You're shooting from here, so you're shooting back.
Yes. Yep. Now, not to get off track, but like Dan's been around the game a long time. Like you've probably done some, iteration of retention shooting or the speed rock or something to that extent. You guys have heard of that before, right? So if we compare positions, so thumb pec index, or if I go into speed rock, what do we think a potential problem difference is automatically from that?
You're leaning backwards.
I mean, it's potentially that, but where's the muzzle oriented? Up, right? What else is up and around here if him and I are engaged physically?
Your arm.
My arm, all right? And that's one of the primary components of the thumb pec index, is that we need to be able to safely engage our opponent in regards to not shooting ourselves as well as the rest of the environment, all right? And that's, as we do this more and more, anytime you're in physical contact with somebody, so i.e. arm's distance and closer, on the feet, on the ground, leaning into a car, any of that sort of place, weapon goes to thumb pec index. It's extremely good, at what it's for, and extremely usable there, and we'll get a lot of reps at doing stuff like that. Okay, so like I said, when I teach this, I teach 3 cues: cover, support hand will come to the chest, grip, right? We'll clear the garment, we'll establish a grip, and I'll say draw. Firearm will come immediately back into this thumb pec index position, and I'll tell you to reholster. We reholster. Now we relax. Is everybody good on that? Is anybody confused by what we're doing? Okay, so what I want you guys to do is I want to have a line of half of the people right here, and then the other half of the people just lined up, partnered in front of them. Basically just be 1 arm's distance away from each other. Yep. So we'll get basically 4 or 5 people over here, face to face with 4 or 5 people on this side here. And I want you guys to be this close to one another. Yep.
Yeah, odds are in your favor.
Okay, so while we're doing this, I'm going to go initially one at a time. That way you guys aren't sitting in the thumb pec index holding it for a really long amount of time while I kind of work. When I'm working with other people, and this will be true of the entire day, I want you guys watching what they're doing, because almost guaranteed that problems that they have or things that they do well, immediately you can, kind of implement or fix, with yourself. So we'll be doing this side first. All right, we're going to be going this side over here. You're just going to be meat target, just standing there. Okay? All right, so we'll start here. So we got Nate and Tommy, right? Yep. Perfect. If I use anybody's wrong names, just correct me on that. Okay, so we'll start with you. So we'll go cover, grip. I want you to be a little closer here.
Okay.
There you go. Grip, establish your grip, and then draw. Okay? So good, and I want this to be in here nice and tight. Should feel tension back here. If you are comfortable during the thumb pec index, you're wrong. It's not a comfortable position at all. Okay, so we kind of see where we're at. Good. All right, so that's a good position. All right, we'll make that kind of feel. So go ahead and holster back up. All right, we get to call in here. Same thing, so we'll go cover. We'll go grip, draw. Good, bring this in nice and tight. So this is one thing we're gonna have to work, right? Like, you're a big old boy. So for you, I think that what we're gonna have to do is establish a position that is a little bit more forward and down. Okay. It's less ideal, but we have to make sure that you don't shoot yourself in the stomach, all right? Now, the other thing with this is I need you to crank your elbow in, and I want you to drive the bottom of your hand in. Not so much about cranking the gun out, but what I want is for this to be in this position there. Because this is about the only way that we can have you really safely engage from there. And I want this to be active. So this thumb, it doesn't sit against the frame of the gun, it actively finds its position on the body. Okay, so can we pull this there, right? This is more of what I want right there, okay? But this is always going to be the balance that you have when you have a smaller gun and a bigger guy. Every class I have somebody who's your size and has a Glock 26 or something. It's just like, it presents its own problems. Okay, go ahead and holster back up. Right, Mr. Maley, go ahead and cover, grip, draw. Okay, so I don't shrug this like where you're, but I want you to pull your thumb back and put it to your pec here, okay? So, I want your elbow in. So see how you're flaring? I want this in. Hold on a second, relax. There, okay? So don't crane your wrist. Like, your wrist doesn't change. Now pull your thumb back, put it on your pec. Okay, that's a thumb pec index. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so if you see, go ahead and look down like where you're at. Can you pull your elbow back anymore? Is that about where you're limited? We got a lot of combat sports guys here. It's not all going to look super pretty, okay? Now, I don't want you to see how you're starting to cheat it in. I want you to drive the palm of your hand into your rib cage. Okay. Okay, that's where it's at. Does that make sense? Yep. Go ahead and relax and holster here. Okay, John, go ahead and cover, grip, draw. Okay, so I want this high flagged. No. It digs into your pec right there, okay? Elbow in tight. And you should feel a lot of tension right here. Is this super uncomfortable?
Yep.
Good. It should be, all right? And then I want you to drive your hand into your rib cage, right? There you go. See how it doesn't angle the gun out, but it keeps the gun from angling in on you. Okay, go ahead and relax. Mr. Jeff, go ahead and cover, grip, draw. And Jeff is the only person who ever gets 2 alphas in the chest when he does thumb pec index. Nobody else does. All right. The only thing I would say with you is, like, I like to dig this in active. Go ahead and relax, Jeff. Okay, so we'll go down the other side here. So the one main thing, and obviously, like, this takes some work. So the biggest thing that you're going to see with people is when we, like, clear. So one, the thumb is high and flagged, and it physically finds its place. So it's not loose and just there, because that will always lead to people canting the gun in. So we flag the thumb high, and it finds its index on the pec there. Secondarily to that, the bottom of the hand. So I don't angle the gun out. That's not the purpose whatsoever. I just drive the hand into the rib cage. So when I drive the hand into the rib cage, that tends to make the muzzle, with most people and body types, orient more or less straight away from the body. If you let the hand relax, the elbow relaxes, the gun turns back towards the midline, it gets more and more dangerous. So the elbow comes in, the hand drives against the rib cage. This is a primo thumb pec index position. Does that make sense to guys? Okay. My left shoulder is so much more mobile than my right. I can't get this hand that high when I do it with my good hand. All right, Stephanie, you ready? Okay, so we'll go cover, grip, draw. Good. So like I said, active with this, so the thumb actively finds its place right there. Otherwise, that's very good though. Is it uncomfortable? Does your shoulder feel like it's got a lot of tension?
Yeah.
Good. Good. Like I said, thumb, pec, index, not comfortable at all. Go ahead and relax. Go ahead and holster. You can use your other hand to help you holster. Yep. Okay, Pat. Go ahead and cover, grip, draw. Good. Can you pull back a little bit? Is that about where she goes? Okay, good. Can you drive the hand, drive your mag, right there you go. That's a little bit better. And that's where you should feel a lot of the tension, is the driving of that hand kind of down and the pulling back there. That's a good position there. Okay, go ahead and relax.
Okay. Question for
Yep.
me particular, why I brought this, deactivating the safety on 2011, where in that should have happened?
So I mean, like the technical rules are that like it's finger straighten off the trigger, or it's weapon on safe until you're ready to fire, finger straighten off the trigger till you intend to fire. So it should happen somewhere between the the safety could come off prior to the finger going to the trigger. Well, in this particular case, if you decided to draw and come to the thumb, pec, index, safety's off.
It's coming up.
Yep, I'd take it off. Yep.
Okay.
And like
I say, because if you want your thumb up here, I can't come up and then.
I would take it off right there. And then, yeah, and then, this might be getting off in the weeds, but within the scope of pistol usage, right, like the point of having that weapon on safe is so that, like, it doesn't get snagged in something because it's a single action, and that it's safe from, like, being dropped. But once it's out and you're like, hey, I think I might have to do stuff, safety off. Because you're not in a different condition than the rest of us with polymer guns who don't have a manual safety at that point. So
while I'm doing this today, do you want me to run my safety?
absolutely. I want you to get as much out of this that's realistic as possible. Like I said, it is technically a safety risk that I do this with real firearms. And there's people, yeah, and there's people in the space of combatives that don't like that I do it, but I do it explicitly because if there's no live fire component, there are problems like the safety. There's problems like Colin carrying a frickin' SIG 365, right? It's just like those don't come up. If I had him do exactly this, but with one of my plastic Glock 17s, he wouldn't notice the problem as much because he'd have an extra 2 inches of barrel on there. So those are the problems that this is explicitly supposed to help us address while we can in a safe way. And then we go to the dummy guns when we start doing other stuff. But no, great question. All right, Mr. Stalker, we'll go cover, grip. Yep, and I'd clear the safeties on that. Draw. Good. Are you able to pull that back? There we go. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. Then drive. There we go. Good. And you should feel like all the tension's back here. But no, that's a very good position. That's perfect thumb, pec, index right there. Go ahead and relax. Yep. And so are you the only one in duty holster? Yeah. So for that, when I do it, like when I say grip, defeat all retaining devices. If you have anything like that, like that's why I don't do a more complex command. It's just like, hey, do whatever you need to do so that on the draw command, the gun comes out of the holster. All right, Tommy. Cover, grip, draw. All right, so make sure that see how you're a little like you're going to get bit by your slide right there. So I'd fix that a little bit. So we're still in a good grip position, and then the thumb flags off of that. Okay. So now I want you to drive your elbow in and your hand in, but like keep your wrist strong and drive the palm of your hand in. There we go. Do you feel the difference? Yeah. Right? So now look down, see where you're at. Okay, now I want you to loosen up your wrist like you had it before and be a little bit like, there you go. Now look down. Do you see the change? Right? So the wrist stays strong, so good and tense, nice strong wrist. Go ahead. Real strong wrist, and now drive the hand into the rib cage. Okay, so see how we're loose again. So strong wrist, drive the hand and the elbow in. There we go. See where we're at? Does that make sense? Yeah. Go ahead and holster up. Okay, did you guys see what I was doing with Tommy there, right? Which is nothing should change about your general, like your interaction with the pistol as far as your grip and your wrist and things like that, right? So I still have my good grip. This would be exactly the grip that I could draw out and shoot from there. So I still have my same wrist position, but now as I bring the gun back in, I drive the elbow in and I drive the hand into the rib cage. Now I have a good orientation going straight forward. If you try to make the thumb, pec, index happen by moving the gun versus moving the body, you end up with this, right? And that's exactly why we do it this way as far as like using the thumb, pec, index, but it's exactly why I say It's not comfortable. Shouldn't be comfortable when you do thumb pec index. Okay, so stay in front of your partners. Now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna give group command. So this whole side, so the Colin, Jeff, Aaron, Nate side, the command is for all of you, right? When you come out the thumb pec index, stay there. I'm gonna go along, you know, kind of make adjustments if I need to. Also, partner, give them feedback, right? So if I'm Tommy, I'm looking at Nate and be like, bro, you're pointing that at your belly button. Like, give them a little bit of feedback on that. Okay, so this whole side over here is going. Everybody ready? All right, cover, grip, draw. Good. There we go. See if we can, we need to angle this down a little bit. So see if we can pull the elbow, there we go.
Okay.
It needs to be that uncomfortable. Because if you're here where you had it, like this is bad, right? You're gonna put yourself at risk. So it needs to be there. Yep. So I want you to drive, so keep this against the gun and then drive that in as best you can, okay? I don't want to see gap over there. Go ahead and relax. Let's work on. Everything about your thumb pec index is pretty good. Remember, I want this thumb to be strong. So it's physically engaged and it digs into your pec right there, okay? And then work on a good, when we flag the finger, up nice and high. Go ahead and relax. Nice. Go ahead and holster, guys. Okay, other side, and we'll just alternate. We'll do a few reps kind of alternating back and forth here. All right, cover, grip, draw. So I want that thumb flag nice. Yes, so the thumb flag's high. This is what we mean by a flag thumb, is it looks like that. It doesn't change my grip, but I flag the thumb. That way I can actively dig that in, okay? Go ahead and relax. Be a little bit active with that, Dan. Good job. You would drive this in more. There you go. Yep, go ahead and relax, Pat. And I want you to drive your hand. Yes, that's the position. Elbow in, hand in, okay? Go ahead and relax, yep. Oops, sorry. All right, guys, look up here for just a second. So this will be a problem all day. And I don't mean this like in an offensive way. This is just the nature of learning this position. So like I said, so if, I'm gonna step out here, Colin. Colin will be my designated meat target. Right, so just get to where you can see me and Colin. So as you guys are observing your issues that you have here, the reason I say it's elbow in, and I'm not canting the gun, but I'm driving my palm physically into the rib cage. Because if you see, as soon as I loosen the elbow, where does the gun go? The muzzle wants to orient towards you in the center. The same thing, even if I have my elbow in, but I let that orientation with my wrist not be strong because I'm not driving my hand in, you get this, right? So now this starts to get awfully close to everything over on this side. Conversely, if I just drive the palm of my hand and my elbow in, automatically it basically fixes everything, right? I could be a little bit better on this side. That's a lot of tension. That's a little bit better there. But should be a lot of tension, right? Like feel the back of my shoulder right there. Does it feel like hard as a rock, right?
Nothing's moving.
Yeah, it's not because I'm freaking like that muscular, it's because it's just pure tension, right? It is a very tense, uncomfortable position because I am maintaining it like actively that whole time. Does that make sense, right? So when you guys are doing this and when we're repping, like get that rep every time that we're like coming in here and I go thumb pec index, feel that tension. You should feel a lot of tension. You should feel that hand driving into the rib cage there. Make sense? Okay, line back up. We'll get some more reps here. Who we on this side again? We on the Jeff side? Okay. Yep, same thing. Group commands here, guys. Cover. Grip. Draw. Good. Go ahead and relax. Relax. That's better, Aaron. Good job. Go ahead and relax. Yep, relax, guys. Relax and holster. All right, other side here. Cover. Grip. Draw. There you go. Fucking sucks sitting there for very long, huh? Good, that's the point. Good, go ahead and relax, guys, relax. Good, okay. One other point that I didn't make yet, but we see people having issues with it. When you go to the thumb pec index, and especially if you're in the appendix carry position, particularly, when you draw that pistol, just immediately from the holster, rip straight back to that position, right? Which also means anybody who has any issues with garment clearance and stuff, that's a problem that has to be fixed prior to drawing the gun. Now it's gonna come up. Me and Pat are over here like, you know, he ambushes me at my car. and I start trying to, like, guess what? You're going to have problems, right? It's just, that's the nature of it, right? But that's during the grip process, during the garment clearing process, you need to get that into a position where I can clear that, maintain that position, and be able to clear it. That needs to be solved there versus if you kind of pussyfoot around with that and you get yourself caught in that, it's a much more difficult position to fix after the fact. Does that kind of make sense? Okay, so we're going to continue getting a lot of reps of that as we move along. So now what we're going to transition or move to is we're basically going to basically just move into a position. I just call it the chest ready. A lot of people call it the compressed ready. It's all the same thing, which is basically, and the only purpose that this really serves is it's something of a bridge between just a standard weapons up in front of my face, both hands on it, grip at distance, and a thumb pec index. The simple reason for that is whatever happened, call and attack me, we're doing yada, yada, yada. I come out, thumb pec index, I clap him a couple times with it, he wilts, he backs off, or I'm able to back off a couple of steps and I end up, let's say right here, right? Can I hit him, like physically make impact from the thumb pec index from here? I mean, I don't know, probably not, right? We're at the extreme end of the usefulness of that, right? However, what happens if I just draw the gun out to here, right? Go ahead. It's right, you know, it's in range. The guy can grab it, right? So within this context, I'm going to go from thumb pec index. I'm just going to bring the firearm into just a compressed, a chest ready right here. And the sole purpose of it is to use it in a position in this particular context where I do not want to have the weapon fully extended due to proximity, but I have passed the usable distance of the thumb pec index. Does that make sense to everybody? It's not a particularly difficult position. The way that I teach it, essentially just everyone where you can see here, is if I am at my, and again, I'm doing everything weekend only, so just, but if I'm at my actual, like, you know, two-hand grip position here, I don't do anything except bend my elbows. That's it. I don't try to find a new position. I don't do anything weird like that. I'm here, you know, hey, stop, whatever, bend the elbows, right? So the pistol is more or less under my eye. It's directly under my face. For people with two arms, I'll bring Aaron over here, right? So I'll have Aaron do the same thing. I'll have him just aim in on the wall over there. So Aaron comes out, he gets a good grip. Yep, go ahead. Yep, good. Yeah, go ahead and aim on the wall with a good grip. Aim at the wall with both hands. Crying out loud. There we go. All right, so all Aaron's going to do is he's just going to bend his elbows back to his chest here. That's his compressed ready, right? That's it. Nothing particularly weird about that. Who thinks that Aaron could not score hits at this distance easily and continually, right? Extremely simple, right? That's the point of this position, right? So we come with the chest ready here, and then the way that this floats down, as we get close, now what does Aaron do? Goes to thumb pec index. Boop. Yep, pretty simple. Right? Go ahead and holster back up. Does everybody understand the basics of that? All right, we're not going to do a ton of reps of this, all right? So I just want you with your partners. Now I want you at basically double arms distance. So you hold an arm out, partner holds an arm out. That's the distance that we're at, okay? I just want you to draw out regular two-hand firing grip extended position, and then I just want everybody, once I'm there, I'm just going to say, hey, chest ready. Just want you to bend your elbows back, put them on your rib cage. Help you guys correct a little bit. Don't need to spend a ton of time on it, all right? Everybody go ahead and do that. Yep, just draw out to a good two-hand firing grip. Perfect. Okay, so now elbows back on your rib cage. Good. I would try to keep that from getting too much over your ejection port, but that's good call. Go ahead and put them away. Let's get that under there, and I want this palm against the side there. Okay, go ahead and holster back up. That's good, John. That's good, Jeff. Good. Other side now. Same thing. Go ahead and just come out. Good two-hand firing grip. Same thing. Now elbows back to the chest. Good. See how you're angled down? Like that ain't your chest. That ain't your chest. This is your chest. So come back out. Elbows back to chest. Better-ish, right? So see how your muzzle's still pointed down? Yeah. Straight ahead, right? So again, we're just here. Just bring your elbows back to your chest. Don't see how you're flaring them like way out. Yeah. Boop, boop, right there. Tuck them in tight. Elbows in tight. There we go. See the difference? And you're kind of a good locked-in position. Good, Dan. That's good, Pat. Good, Stephanie. Good. Yep, go ahead and relax. Okay. Everything very simple on that. Anybody not really understand that? All right, so now what I want you guys to do is I'm just going to call out, same thing on this side. I'm just going to tell you to draw. I want you to draw to the thumb pec index, and I'm just going to say chest ready. So from the thumb pec index to the chest ready. Very simple. All right, we'll get a couple reps of that, and then we'll be on to the next thing. All right, so we'll be going on this side here, the Jeff Nate side. Go ahead, draw. All right, chest ready.
Those plastic clips.
Hey-o. All right, go ahead and relax over here. Chest ready. There you go. Get this up high, this hand up high. So I want this meat up against the top of your beaver tail. There you go. Yep. All right, go ahead and relax. Okay, other side. All right, drop. Chest ready. On this angle straight. So don't crane your head so much. You looking down is what's making you drive the gun down. Just want you standing more or less erect. There you go. Go ahead and relax. Good, Pat. Relax. Good, Dan. Good grip there. All right, relax. Okay, good. Third component of that is just going to be standard two-hand firing grip, right? Pistols are, I mean, they're not particularly great problem solvers as far as firearms go, but I think we'd all agree that like problems seem very easy to handle with a pistol at 10 yards, right? They seem a lot more difficult to handle at like a foot. So when we get the opportunity, we want to get back, we want to get two hands on the gun, we want to get on the sights, on the dot. Pretty standard stuff, right? So as the distance increases, then we can use the pistol more in the way that it's supposed to be used, right? So now all that we're going to do is we're going to go from the chest ready, and we're just going to go right out to just regular two-hand firing grip, and we're just going to work it in reverse, right? So we're going to go here, we're going to go chest, we're going to go thumb pec index. We'll relax, right? We'll go here, here, thumb pec index, work a little bit of a chain. Everybody good on that? Okay, so we're just going to draw. We'll be on this side first, all right? Draw to a chest ready, all right? Then we'll extend it. We'll be back to the chest ready, back to the thumb pec index. We'll relax. We'll do a couple reps of that. Everybody good? All right, chest ready. Okay, out to extension. Chest ready. Thumb pec index. Make sure we get that elbow back and high, all that good tension that we need. All right, relax, back to a chest ready, back to a chest ready. Okay, out to extension. Chest ready. Thumb pec index. A little bit more, yeah. We still need to get you angled down even though you're, there we go, that's your thumb pec index. All right, back to the chest ready, one more time here. All right, extension, chest ready, thumb pec index, elbow back and high here. You still got decent flexibility, so let's get you angled. There we go, and drive that in. There you go. All right, relax and holster, relax and holster. Other side's turn now, other side's turn. Okay, same thing, go ahead and draw, chest ready here. Stand a little bit more upright with your muzzle there, Dan. There we go. Okay, extension. Chest ready. Thumb pec index. So make sure we correct this. So thumb flag and drive this in. There we go. Don't let it cant out. All right, back to chest ready. Okay, extension. Chest ready. Thumb pec index. Drive that hand, butt of the hand, right. It's more of that's what you need, Dan. Okay, there you go, good. All right, back to chest ready. We'll get one more rep here, guys. All right, extension. Chest ready. So have more tension, Tommy. There you go. Thumb pec index. All right, relax and holster, guys. Relax and holster. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody from a fundamental standpoint? Pretty simple. All right, so now we're basically going to get you guys reps of just kind of working within this spectrum with one another. All right, the only thing that we're going to add to this now is we're going to add a horizontal elbow shield, which is going to help me deal with proximity when I need to go into a thumb pec index if I'm not particularly entangled. So horizontal elbow shield, everybody just kind of turn around so you can see me here. So horizontal elbow shield, and this will come into play in other things that we do, which is why I use it. It's very simple, all right? I'm basically just going to have my elbow in front of my face. I'm going to bury my ear into my elbow, right? So my elbow's going to be protecting my face. I'm not going to look away. I'm not going to have my face exposed or anything like this. I'm going to bring that elbow up and bury my face in it. Okay, so if you see me in my horizontal elbow shield, if you see what it does a pretty good job of protecting most of my face. Gives me pretty reasonable protection of the side of my head as far as dealing with an opponent. And it gives me a very good frame as far as being able to deal with a charging or a close proximity person that I'm not like currently entangled with. For example, right, we have a couple of LE guys here, right? So you're moving through a hallway in a house, you're doing some sort of, could be search warrant, could be, whatever it happens to be. So you're probably working around at some sort of like compressed position. You're at a chest ready position. As you come close to a door, dude busts out the door and charges right at you, right? So one, you need to deal with the fact that this person's closing on you, right? So he's just getting physically closer, but also you have to be able to deal with the physical impact of that person, right? So in this particular example, I have this horizontal elbow shield up. So now if and when Aaron comes charging in, I have the ability to protect myself while also delivering offensively with that elbow, all right? And maintaining my posture and maintaining a standing position. Does that kind of make sense to people? All right, so real quick, we'll go over the horizontal elbow shield. I'm just gonna have everybody turn and face me. The biggest thing I want you to do when you do a horizontal elbow shield is I don't want you to change your posture. I don't want you to look away. I don't want you to look down or anything. I want you to just be in a good position here. I want you to just bring that elbow across the body here. Okay, so everybody, let's do that. Okay, so everybody, horizontal elbow shield. Good position with the body, nice tension. I want you to bury the side of your head into that bad boy. Yeah, so like without turning your head, push your head into that. There we go, good tension, right? Good. Yes, sir. Okay, 1 second, let me come back to here in a sec. Let's see it, Aaron. Good. So see how I can see your whole face? That ain't good. Yeah, you might want to take your glasses off for this, John. Can you see without them?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so I want you to cover right across here with your arm. Bring it that position there.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
Gotcha.
So you've got reasonable protection, as far as that position. Good. Does that make sense to people? I would have to have a covered position when I'm not physically entangled with people. All right, so now what we're going to do is everyone's going to partner up. All right, and all we're going to do is we're just going to work through the spectrum of thumb pec index to chest ready to extended position and back, all right, as far as with our partner. So for example, if I'm with Aaron here is my partner, so initially we're just going to start in this position here, all right? So I want you to come to your good horizontal elbow shield. My horizontal elbow shield isn't very good right now. Just imagine, we'll just put this up here. That's my horizontal elbow shield right now, okay? So I'm going to come to my thumb pec index, all right? I'm going to make space back to the chest ready. I'm going to back to extension, and then Aaron is going to close in on me. So as he closes in on me, I'm going to take myself back down through all three basic positions. Does that make sense to everybody? We're going to do it relatively slow here for a couple reps, and then we're going to grab the shields, and we're going to have your partner actually delivering a little bit of a blow when they come in on you so you can work that good frame position. Everybody good on that? Okay, this you're going to do at your own pace. All right, I'm going to come around, help you out, make corrections. All right, so when you do it, just go back and forth. So Colin starts here. He's nice and close. He goes thumb pec index. He's backing up. He's chest ready. He's backing up. He's all the way out to full extension. Okay. Dan closes in. He goes from full extension. He's in a chest ready. He's in a thumb pec index. Okay. Back in the holster. Now we can just do the other partner. We got space, and we'll rep back and forth on that. Everybody good on that? All right. Go ahead on your own pace here, guys.
Starting with the thumb pec.
Yep. Starting with the thumb pec index. So go ahead. So we're in nice and tight here in that good horizontal elbow shield.
Right now?
Yep.
So I'm here.
Yep. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Ish.
Elbow shield. I can't really.
That's good enough right here. This, like, the point of it is, like, because obviously, like, the other option is to be, like, you know, physically entangled or whatever, but because you're not there yet and you have the firearm out, I have to get something up to protect me from that, because I can't just be here and Dan closes in and you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like,
Cool.
yeah, like that's not
like
good,
that.
right? So that's the point of it there.
Do something with it.
Yep, and just keep moving. Good. Yep, put that shield back out. Yep.
Back up automatically because I'm
Yeah.
so used to my fight situation.
Yeah.
when they
No.
come up.
No, it's good though. Like there's lots of things when it comes to gun handling that seem easy to do until you add just a very smidge. So let's check out where we're at right here, Pat. So we need to fix that. There we go. So this is where that flag, that active thumb, that's where it kind of plays. Yeah. And there's a few people that teach this sort of stuff, obviously, and some of them like will teach to have this thumb. And I feel like when you have this like sort of like monkey thumb, you always end up like loose.
Hey, I stab myself here.
Exactly. So I teach it with the flag thumb, and then like when I'm doing it, I try to drive it into like it's an uncomfortable position. But for me,
You're right behind that.
yeah, but yeah, and it gives me like a very tactile feel of where it's at there as well. Then put that shield back out. Good. Just makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Pretty easy conceptually, right?
Well, I was
But
saying how
it's a little more difficult when he starts moving here in a sec.
like you have to think about it first too.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That's good. So I want you to freeze, both you guys, come back, freeze right there. So this is a good thumb pec index. Hey, can everybody freeze what you're doing for a sec? Look over at John here, right? So John is in a very good thumb pec index. Like his technical position is very good right now. He's got an opponent. What's going to happen when he starts lighting off rounds? He's not going to hit her, right? Now, if John needs to, what does John do?
Move his body.
Moves his body. So, turn your hips. Don't move the gun. So, look at me real quick, John. Turn your hips. Yeah.
Okay.
Right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about index the body, right? But no. Good, John. Go ahead and holster back up.
Not bury your eyes into your that so you can kind of see.
Like when I do it, I usually kind of like I look at the bottom of my forearm. Okay. So like, you know, and this is everyone's slightly different. And this you kind of have to understand like, you know, a position like this, it's not a great fighting position. Right. But it's basically a necessary like kind of in extremis protection of yourself, right? So the problem is like you give yourself too much mobility, or not mobility, visibility, right? You don't have much protection. Or the most common problem I see when I teach is guys look like this. And it's like, all right, I don't know what you think this is doing, but it's not the thing. So like usually when I do it and I'm buried here, I can see like under the bottom. Give me a finger. That's the bottom of my forearm. I can see from right there on down. So I can still see, like I can maneuver and do whatever. I can't look you in the face. Okay. That's the way that I prefer to do it. Now, you're a taller guy than me. So like one, that will still work for you very well, obviously, because you're going to be looking down on people more. So the thing is to make sure that you have a little bit of visibility, but you also think about like how this is going to be utilized in reality, right? Same example, we're moving down the hallway, or, you know, it's a, you know, some sort of like incident, road rage incident, you know, in a freaking Walmart parking lot or whatever, like, you know, Pat gets out of his freaking truck and he comes over, you know, like trying, and I go, oh shit, and I put it up. Am I going to just stay here forever? Or am I going to either A, start using a weapon if I have a weapon out, or I'm going to immediately start looking for underhook, overhook, things that we'll get to here in a minute and stuff like that. So it's a position that serves its role, but it's not the end game. Does that make sense to everybody? Everybody good on that? Okay. Now I want every partnership to get a shield here. So we're going to do the same basic thing, only now we're going to add a little bit of the actual like element of physical contact stuff. So I want you guys to basically like start out the same as far as being right up on one another. Now, as soon as they come to the horizontal elbow shield, partner with the shield, I want you pressing in on them. not super like hard or fast, right? So I want you pressing in them so they feel that. I want you backing up, chest ready, backing up, full extension. Once you get to full extension, have a like noticeable pause so that you both know when you're about to transition into the guy coming back at you. Now, when we get to when we're coming back out, so let's say I have like Mr. Satterwhite, he's up in his horizontal elbow shield, right? Go ahead and just stay in your horizontal elbow shield is fine. So he's in his horizontal elbow shield. He's made that space. Now once we get to here, now I'm going to come at him relatively quick and give him a shot, right? So go ahead and go ahead and come out to your extension position here, Aaron. That's fine, right? So he's out here. So now I'm going to come at him, right? Give him a little bit of a shot. So he sees it. One, distance closes down rapidly. So it's not like you're going to go, oh, bang, bang, chest ready, bang, bang, thumb, pec, index. It's probably more like, hey, extension right back to thumb, pec, index. But also now we're going to test a little bit of that frame is like, A, can he keep himself anchored with the thumb, pec, index, but also he needs to keep himself on his feet. So same thing, he comes out to extension, right? He's got a good position here, right? So he's on his feet. He's still in good thumb, pec, index position, right? That frame served exactly the purpose that it needs. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, anybody confused by what we're going to do? So I want you guys to do about 5 reps. Give the pad to the other guy, do about 5 reps, and we'll do this here for a few minutes. All right, go ahead, guys. And we got plenty of space if we need to spread out a little bit too, so don't feel like you're super like hemmed up. You can get some reps of this. Like you don't have to video everything.
Oh, okay.
No, you're fine. Oh, you can, sure. Yep, good. Keep backing up here, Aaron. Good. Yeah, and obviously, like the gun thing isn't your thing.
No.
You know, so like what I want you to work on, and this is, is just like once you like come to thumb, pec, index, try to keep yourself moving a little bit.
As I come there, start.
Yeah, because what you're doing, and this is totally normal, is that like when something's new, is you always tend to like do it and like stop and then do it and stop. So you're going like.
Yeah.
Right, and see if you can't just smooth it up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Are we starting close going far back?
Yep, yep. So start right up on him. I'm going to take these so you don't break them, John. I'm going to set them on the chair over here.
And
We can also ram them.
right, and that's what it's for.
Good. Yeah, and obviously this is just rhino horn 101. Like. There you go. Yep. And I would just try to bury a little bit. And that might be the one difference of you coming from like the kickboxing side of things. Like I'll be honest, like if you came to like an actual like rhino horn, would you be fine? You'd be totally fine.
That sounds, I think last time I did it, that's what we did. So what's...
I used to, the reason I stopped doing that was just to cut down on the number of things that I was teaching, but also to make sure they're more connected, right? Because do I think that this is totally fine? I do. But then one of the problems that I run into is that like, the way that the ShivWorks guides teach it, you come to the vertical cover when you're backing up, the horizontal cover when you're going forward. So one, it's kind of just, you're asking somebody to do a lot of work.
One that works
but then also like when I do, so we'll do like a default cover position. The one that I teach is I do like a double crossed elbow, right? So like I basically do double crossed elbow. So it's like, hey, all my positions are basically that. Because like what I've kind of noticed, and some of this might just be because I'm a big shoulder guy, is that like if we're doing like whatever at the fence is like, that's a very good like basic cover that doesn't require any of the like kind of precision of like finding that position. But again, Aaron's a kickboxer guy. Like he's like, I'm not gonna say boo. Like if Aaron goes, oh, it serves the same purpose. It gives him same deal, you know.
Yep. I got one more.
Good. This making sense, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it also is like, hey, nothing wrong. Like put a little bend, in there, and and you'll notice like this portion of it, like when we do the combative stuff, it's like, hey, staying on the feet is like prime directive numero uno. So like if you're doing this sort of stuff, I would probably have a pretty decent base to me as well. Yep. Bold words over here. Good. Good. Back up a little bit. Give him a little bit more shot on that. Yeah.
Okay.
One, we want to test him you know, like a little bit, like, yeah. But also, this is like, you know, this is kind of like a standard cop problem, which is like if you're in like a tight structure, a tight space or whatever, and you have someone who approaches quickly, it's like, one, you might not, you know, it might not be reasonable to shoot them, but it's also like, now you're kind of down, like, what are your options? Either like, hey, hand out, stop them. Well, that ain't going to stop them. Maybe you start thinking about coming to your teeps, or it's like, you know, if I bust around the corner, this guy right there, go to that shield, protect yourself, and then figure out what you're doing after that. Good, John. All right, guys, once you finish your reps on that, go ahead and set the shields back against the wall there. All right, does all that stuff make sense to everybody? Pretty good on that? All right, like I said, a large reason why I teach that is, one, to get the gun handling stuff out of the way early, and then also is like selfishly, it's just to get you guys a little bit physically warmed up, like for the things that we're going to do. But I hope pardon me, I hope the like the framing, you know, as far as the horizontal elbow shield and stuff, and the thumb pec index makes sense. We're going to get a bajillion reps of doing that stuff today. What you got, Colin?
Is there anything other than just lots of repetitions that can help you remember to come back to hit the chest index or come back to it? Because I find myself naturally wanting to come from here on target.
And that might be totally reasonable. Like I said, is like, that's an easy way to rep all of them and to get a lot of reps in that. But you saw, as soon as the guy started moving kind of fast, it tends to just be here and here, right? There's not a lot of like stopping in the middle. And I don't view the chest ready position as like that being its purpose. Its purpose is to solely fill the space between, hey, if you and I are at this distance and I've got you at gunpoint, I'm just going to have a regular two-hand firing grip. I can be on the dot, I can be on the sights, or whatever else. Or if I'm here and here, same thing. I'm holding you at gunfight or at gunpoint, or we're fighting. I've got you at thumb pec index. Okay, like that's pretty simple. But what about now? This is just an odd space, right? Because if I extend the firearm, it's in grabbing range of him. But if I come to thumb pec index, I can't really hit him. I'm basically aiming at his shins, right? So the chest ready basically fills that position as far as distance goes. And this isn't really part of my class, but then you could say from like a tactical standpoint is like, if I'm moving, you know, in a structure or around, you know, vehicles or something like that, and I don't want to point my weapon at anything yet, it's also fatiguing to have the firearm out here. So I bring it back to a chest ready while I'm moving around, maybe doing stuff, because it's quick to come back to that, right? Same thing, like, you know, same example is like, you know, Dan and I get called out to, you know, like, hey, there's some sort of welfare check, or there's a DV at a frickin' like, you know, house that we got to go to. So we got to go inside. So it's like, okay, unless they called out and said, hey, the guy's shooting everything up, is Dan going to come in like weapon drawn and pointed at everybody like that? Doubtful, right? If he has the weapon out at all, he's probably going to have it in some sort of compressed position. Either that, or he might have hand on weapon. But now, okay, you're hand on weapon and you're moving inside, so you're dealing with this sort of stuff. Crazy lady busts around the corner, what do? Okay, boom, that's where you come into like that position. So it just kind of, it fills roles as far as distances are concerned, but nothing is tied to like, hey, at exactly this distance, you have to do this, when it's like, if you just run at me right now, you're going to pass through the distance where a chest ready matters in one step, and I just don't care that much, you know? Okay. What else? Any other questions, guys? Okay, get a drink if you need one real quick. We're going to move into some of our verbal stuff and then into some of the basic grappling component stuff.